Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let me turn Jess's mic back on. Hello. It is magic time. Oh, wait. I didn't put Jess in the scene. Oh, no.
Oh.
Hold on. Hold on.
I've been banned from the scene.
Yeah.
Bad behavior.
Oh, everyone can look at my beautiful soundboard. There we go. There's you. I don't know why. I hear like a very small echo. I don't know where it's coming from, but... Alright. I can't see Jess. Yeah, that's my fault. I'm sorry. One sec. Here she is. Here's Jess. Ta-da! Sorry, I forgot. I was like all ready. I was like, yeah, I didn't forget anything, and then I forgot to put Jess.
That's okay.
Alright, there we go. Welcome, everyone, to Magical Girls Part 3?
Part 3, yeah.
Part 3.
Part 3, probably out of 4.
Yeah, probably 4, maybe 5. We don't know.
Oh god, I hope not. The longer it goes on, the happier I am, and the more embarrassed I am. It's really terrible.
I think it's good. It's good. But yeah, so this is part 3. We're moving into we're in the 2000s now. We're mid 2000s.
Yeah, we're comfortably in the stuff that I think we were all watching in like middle school now.
Yeah. Explosion Limit says it's a never-ending project. Exactly.
in theory.
Yeah. So yeah, same stuff as last time. Magical girls. Obviously, like me, I've said this before, but me and Jess are both white, so there might be like a couple of like cultural things that aren't like 100% on point. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get into My Hime.
Okay.
Oh, it's a little loud. Okay, one sec. Let me turn my mic down.
Oh, okay.
I have it cranked. All right, that should be better.
Okay. So yeah, so where we left off, we were kind of like in the early 2000s, you know, in the post-90s moment, the magical girls genre is sort of solidifying around more Sailor Moon type narratives, where, you know, we have groups of teenage girls fighting like evil organizations and things like that. And we've started to see like a little bit of this splitting off into two sort of demographic groups, right? Where we have like magical girls that are actually for young children to watch versus magical girls that are for like the adult anime fan crowd.
Yeah. Tactical Warhead magical girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we talked about Nanoha, so.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Hi there.
Hi, Sophia. Glad to see you.
Yeah, so we're gonna see those two trends continue basically through the rest of the stuff that we talk about, and I think it's probably gonna be more obvious to people like, oh, I recognize this show. This is like one that's maybe over time, the ones that were aimed at adults get more play over here, and in the States we tend to kind of like we're not really getting the ones for kids anymore here, because it's like anime is not being so frequently like dubbed in the same way for kids right now. Not frequently.
Or not like, I feel like they're very choosy about what they dub.
Very choosy. Yeah, very, very choosy.
Like Yokai Watch made it for some reason because it's like Pokemon, but yeah, sidebar.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And we're going to see, there's a couple Pretty Cures that have actually made it too, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, so it's 2005, and I kid you not, I don't know if I still have the magazine, but I read an interview with the creators of My Hime at the time that this came out. And it's these guys that work for Sunrise. So if you're a fan of like Gundam, Code Geass, that kind of thing, this is Sunrise Studios. And the director was like, "Yeah, we were all just like hanging out, drinking. You guys are going to notice a trend here. People go out to a bar and they drink and they come up with anime ideas." And they were like, "Yeah, we really like fighting games, and we really like mechs, but also we really like high shoujo melodrama set in private schools.
Yes,
and what if we just like took all of that and put it together, right?"
Also, hello, Static Fan. Welcome to the anime talk.
Hi. So with My Hime, we end up with this kind of weird show that personally I love. But it's blending these different elements of like the anime, I don't know, the anime genre lineage, basically.
Lauren says they use so many Gundam sound effects. I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess I wouldn't have known that that's what they were, but when you say it, it makes total sense. Oh yeah, Explosion Limit points out that the panty stealing episode. Yeah, this was a show. This was a show that, like, in the beginning had a lot of, like, it's the mid-2000s, so we're just gonna have, like, gag episodes just for the sake of, like, we have a beach episode, which actually doesn't really go the way a typical beach episode does, so I give it credit for that, but yeah, the whole episode that's just the monster of the week is stealing girls' underwear is very... I mean, in context, it's like, okay, this is kind of humorous, but it's also like, wow, this is such a mid-2000s anime.
Right.
So yeah, one of the things I think is really cool about My Hime is that it was developed by this studio that's better known for like anime for generally adults and typically more men than women, but I think the show has a lot of cross-gender appeal because it has so much of this dramatic element and these inter-character kind of conflicts going on.
Yeah.
It's also very much one of those like foreshadowing Madoka type shows.
I see.
Where it's like this premise is deceptively innocent, and you know we have these like conflicts building, these plot twists coming. As Explosion Limit pointed out, we kind of mirror Revolutionary Girl Utena a little bit with like the lore and the plot twists. So if you like all that type of stuff, I actually would really recommend this show.
I haven't seen it. I'm kind of intrigued.
Oh my god, really? Because the other thing I was going to say is this show is very gay. And like, no. And I feel two ways about this, because first of all, this show probably only got the sequel that we're going to talk about because it really took off with the Yuri community. Like, there was a lot of Yuri dojins for this show.
Interesting, yeah.
On the one hand, I can say with certainty that there are, like, at least 4 sapphic characters.
Wow.
Are they, or at least characters who are in some way involved in a sapphic romantic triangle. I have reasons for deciding that they're all queer that mostly have to do with this other show, but just say that. And if somebody were to ask me, are these like happy lesbians? I would be like, absolutely not.
Disaster lesbians.
This big disaster lesbians, oh no, you fell in love with your friend who is either straight or thinks she's straight, and like everything is just awful. A lot of like not really happy endings, but the show actually does like talk about homophobia.
Wow, surprising.
Like there's actually like moments where it's like, oh, the dramatic tension of the scene is the character's internalized homophobia. And I think that that's just like really rare in anime, where like the context of it is present.
Especially from 2005.
2005, yeah. I mean, this show took itself pretty seriously with, yeah, exactly. Like, as people pointed out, like, we have stalkers, there's strange relationships, both straight and otherwise. There's a character who, after getting her powers, like, promptly just goes straight into hard candy and is like,
oh my god.
She's like a 14-year-old, I say this lovingly, she's a 14-year-old psycho who, like, professionally catfishes pedophiles and, like, steals all their money. And it's kind of great. Like, the whole episode is like, wow, I feel you need a hug, but also, like, I'm proud of you.
Shout out to the one character image song that's the most over-the-top Enka shit.
Oh, yeah. The most lesbian of the lesbian characters has, like, an Enka, like, an image song. So, like, the actress sang a song for a fan album.
Okay. I was like, what's that?
And her song is, like, this is a traditional Japanese ballad genre, right? And the song is like, I love you so much, I just want to burn your house down. Which I am aware is like a negative stereotype about Sapphic folks, but also like, it's a good song, you guys.
Sophia says, fuck yeah. Yeah, I think I'm sold on My Hime after this.
Yeah, I think it's totally worth a watch. It's not perfect, but it's 2005, so.
For sure.
Also, we've got evil American corporations. We've got socially awkward androids for you folks who really like Nier. You know, there's a lot of things to love.
I've never heard that before. Amazing. Be gay, do crime. Exactly.
Gay, do crime. Yes. Right. So we have My Hime here on the left, and this was like a reasonably popular anime, like enough that it got licensed over here right away.
Yeah.
It's been renewed a couple of times, but like it wasn't the most successful thing in 2005 in Japan. But it was enough that they were like, we'll do something else with this. And weirdly, instead of just doing like a straight sequel, which I guess given the ending wouldn't have been that interesting, they were like, let's take all the same characters. Somebody's asking, is it streaming? Funimation, I think.
Okay.
If not, for those who actually live in New York and know me, I have DVDs I can loan you. But, but I think it's on Funimation for everybody else. So they were like, okay, yeah. So they're like, let's take all the characters from My Hime and some of the lore and like all the mecha designs, and let's just dump all of that into a completely unrelated story with a totally different setting. Which is super strange, and I don't know a whole lot of other franchises that did that.
Yeah.
But it works. Like, I think you can watch My Otome without having seen My Hime. Some of the lore references and character dynamics would go over your head, but it's a standalone story.
I honestly didn't know they were the same thing, but makes sense.
It makes more sense if you look at the Japanese logo here on these DVD covers, you can see that like it's rendered in a more similar way. Like visually, you can just tell. You know, in American translation, it kind of loses something.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there's two things that I really like about My Otome. The first is perhaps because My Hime was so popular with all the Yuri fans, they took all of the sad lesbians from My Hime and made them happy, well-adjusted, out adults who are just like happy. I'm not going to say middle-aged, but probably in their 30s, but just like happy lesbians in good relationships.
Lauren says My Otome has the best Batman.
Oh yeah, there's a character whose magical girl outfit is just blatantly Batman. No, I'm serious. It's like really funny.
That's great. Yay, happy lesbians.
Yeah. So they upgrade all of the sad lesbians to happy lesbians. We do get new, young, badly adjusted gays just to keep the drama quotient high.
Of course.
But to me, I'm like, okay, you get a little thumbs up here for this. And so basically, My Otome is like a completely different approach where you have this other planet in the future where they did away with standing armies because they had too many wars. Mm-hmm. And so what we have instead is we take teenage girls and they go to this special school where you get shot up with nanomachines and you become a highly trained, like, socialite / diplomat / bodyguard for... Yeah, so there's these magical girls who are like, who are literally walking nuclear deterrents. Because it's like, all of the military might of an army is in this one person.
I love Nier.
Well,
that is also a thing in Nier, I swear to God.
Okay, yeah. But the thing is like, if fake Space America just decided to declare war on fake Space Italy, because they're really obvious, you'd be risking your life, because the fake American president, if his Otome, his magical girl, dies, he also dies immediately. Like, no takebacks.
What a shame.
So it's literally like, well, no one's gonna go to war, right? Because we did this thing, which is clearly so superior to having a militia or nukes or anything. Spoiler alert, it's not better at all. Probably the dumbest part of the show is that a lot of the drama comes from the fact that when these girls go to magical girl school, they're swearing off men. Because the nanomachines... the nanomachines in your body will stop working if they're ever exposed to semen. Which, I guess on this planet, no one's ever heard of birth control. It never comes up, so seemingly there's no condom.
Oh my god! Did they really need to write that?
It's weird, because on the surface of it, it's so stupid and funny. But they actually get really into the dynamic, because they're like, there are a lot of queer girls at this school, both among the students and the staff, because if you want to be gay, this is the perfect lifestyle for you, because if you get this job, no one ever wants you within 50 feet of a man at all.
Yeah, Lauren's like, trans mask is in the clear, and then poor transbians. Yeah, what the hell?
I was actually thinking about the transbians this morning. I was just sitting here in this very chair being like, wait, but I was like, if you're on Spyro and your count drops, are you I don't know. I don't think that Sunrise thought about it that hard. I did, because I was like, I really need to know. I've headcanoned that the transbians are fine. But
that's funny.
Yeah, so they wring a lot of drama out of this, because on the one hand you have the queer girls who are like, this is fine, I don't ever need to be with a cis guy in my life. But then you have, you know, there are straight women there too who are like, well, this is a significant thing for me to have to like give up having kids, to give up, you know, sort of a traditional like getting married kind of thing.
Sorry, Lauren is getting too into the science.
No, I've wondered that too, though. No, I have thought about this too much, and I've talked with my friends about this too much. Like, trust me that I'm wondering these things too.
Think of the transbians.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know. I think My Otome is super interesting because they are legitimately trying to get some. They want to explore the characters. They want to explore the implications of this world when it comes to gender and sexuality. Mm-hmm. And I think it does a much better, like, nowadays, fast forward to 2021, the whole, like, military magical girl thing is pretty popular and, in my opinion, kind of distasteful. And I think it started with Nanoha. And Nanoha just wasn't interested in, like, analyzing it. They're like, girls with laser guns that work for the military, it's fine, whatever. My Otome is actually interested in, like, thinking that out. So, like, as a thought experiment, like, magical girls as nukes is bad, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's worth recommending just for that.
Sorry, we're still breaking down the science of the nanomachines versus semen technology here.
Yeah, I don't know if do all the nanomachines. I don't want to say like the nanomachines all live in a specific location that would be vulnerable to this. I don't know how it works.
Oh my god! I don't think there's a surprising amount of anime that have like something like that as the explanation, and you're like, why did you even have to write this in here? Like, like Gunslinger Girl. There's some weird shit like that in there of like, oh, we had to take out all these girls' uteruses before we made them into child soldiers, like
robot assassins. Yeah.
Anyway, sidebar, but yeah, it's like it's funny.
Yeah, it is super super ridiculous, and I will add a cautionary note that there's one episode of My Otome where there's like an attempted sexual assault specifically with the intention of like depowering someone. It's not followed through. It's not graphic, but it is a scary scene. So just I think it's like episode 15 or so. Mm-hmm. If that bothers you, just please be aware that that's one episode. I think my Hime was okay though. I don't remember there being. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So these are some of my favorites. So thank you for letting me talk for so long about them.
I was like, we need to start with My Hime because there's going to be a lot of ground to cover here.
A lot of things.
All right, let's move on to Precure.
Right. So I don't have a whole lot to say about Splash Star except that like we've had one Precure show so far, and it was really, really successful. And Studio Toei is like, we want more of this, but we don't know what that should look like. So for Splash Star, they literally took the same 2 character designs, gave them different outfits and new names, and just like basically did the same show over again.
Honestly, good for them.
Like, if you were to put this, for those of you at home, if you want to compare these character designs to the first ones, they're basically the same. And I don't think that was like a super great idea or anything. Like, it's kind of like meh, whatever. But this show was also really successful again, and I think it was Studio Toei kind of realizing like there is a way that we could keep doing this year after year and have it still be profitable, you know?
Yeah. Thank you, Sophia, for resubscribing with Prime. I appreciate you. Love you.
Yay!
Lauren says, do these 2 also punch?
Kat, I just want to let you know our lights just flickered.
Oh no!
So if knocking on wood, if something happens, I will log back on right away.
It's very hot in New York right now, and they said there might be blackouts, so it's possible.
Yeah. The AC also like choked for a second, so.
Static Fan says, I think Toei missed out by not bringing Precure to the West sooner. I feel like it got way more popular like around now, like 2020-ish. Like, I've seen way more people talk about Precure now than like when I was a teenager back in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I think it had like not a big, but like there was a consistent fan sub community for it over here way after fan sub started to like drop off in 2011 or so. So I think there were always like the diehards over here who were keeping it going, but now just in the last like 3 years, I think the franchise gets way more attention now.
I've just like personally heard my friends and like circles talk about it a lot more than I ever heard like when I was growing up, which is interesting. Hello, Sada Salad, welcome.
Hi, Salad.
All right. I've never watched Pretty Cure. I think it's because I am like really picky about art styles. Which one would you watch first if you were to watch one?
Well,
I think there's so many.
I think Sada Salad in the chat probably has better recommendations than I do because I've only seen a little bit of certain.
We can talk about that later, but
yeah. I mean, I'll highlight a couple as we go that I think are like particularly interesting. The only one that I've seen a lot of is Smile. Pretty cute.
Okay. Sada Salad says Heart Catch. Is that later?
That's we're gonna get to that in a bit. But yeah, Heart Catch is a very popular one, I think.
Mohutsukai is the canon gay one. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they've been doing more. They've been doing some interesting stuff with that lately.
All right. Should we go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay. I hear there's a lot of Pretty Cure to cover, so.
Right. Like we'll do them each as they come up. So yeah, this poster is outdated now by like 5 or 6 years, but this is just a poster for one of the Pretty Cure movies. Mm-hmm. So every year, as I think I said last time we did this, like every year you get a totally new Pretty Cure show, 52 episodes, an entire year, and you get a movie, and the movies are all like cumulative crossovers.
Okay.
So every single movie has like increasingly more and more and more Pretty Cures in it.
Wow.
So like on the poster for this movie, they're not joking. All of those girls were in this movie.
That's kind of cool, honestly.
Yeah, and the scenes from the movie can be really fun because it's like the girls from 2003 like kick somebody in the face and then he falls backwards and gets blasted by lasers from the girls from 2014, and it's just,
that's fun.
It's really fun.
Doki Doki is my personal fave because that's what I was watching when I was living in Japan. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's another popular one too. Yeah.
let's go to Powerpuff Girls, or is there anything else?
No, we can move on with this one. Is it? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Because I remember last session we mentioned that this show existed, and that was why I had included regular Powerpuff Girls, and people were like, "What?
What?"
So I know this is a weird time to be talking about this because we have like the bad live action Powerpuff Girls pilot.
Right.
I think people are feeling pretty defensive of this property, but I know it's like it's dear to our hearts, right? Yeah. But way back in 2006, Cartoon Network actually produced, through a Japanese anime studio, a whole anime of Powerpuff Girls. They produced it, they dubbed it in English, and then they never aired it over here. Like, it's like a lost dub, we just never got it.
I remember I went to Anime Iowa 2007, and they were playing that there, like, at the Anime Con, and I was like, this is wild to me. Like, I have vivid memories of watching this at an Anime Con.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that, like, non-anime people don't believe is real.
Right.
They're like, you're making that up. And it sounds ridiculous, but...
Right. Saudis Salad said the Powerpuff anime is good.
It is, yeah, it's really fun. The professor's like a 10-year-old boy. So, like, I think he doesn't, if I remember correctly, he doesn't create the girls, but he, like, gives them their powers, I think. Yeah, it's really, really fun. And, like, if you just Google clips of this on YouTube, you'll find some pretty cute stuff from it.
Yeah, it's cute. Don't they have, like, one of them has, like, a giant hammer or something? Am I making that up?
Yeah, I think Bubbles has a giant hammer, I think.
Okay.
Somebody like does. Buttercup might just punch people, I forget.
Good for her.
Yeah. So yeah, it's super cute, and I just think I don't even know why we didn't get it over here, because Cartoon Network spent pretty significant money getting this made and getting it dubbed in English, and then just to not air it at all.
It's kind of weird.
Like, of course, they aired it in Japan, and I think the dub that was produced for us actually got aired in Singapore instead. So they made money on this show, but not domestically, which is very interesting.
Static Fan says, I haven't finished it yet, but I love Powerpuff Girls Z. It's super cute. I want to go back and rewatch, like, at least a couple episodes, just because, like, gosh, I haven't seen it since, like, in over 10 years. It's been a long time, so...
It's endlessly funny to me that they put Z at the end of it.
Powerpuff Girls Z.
Z, yeah.
Alright, should we go next?
Yeah, sure.
Alright. Sami.
Yeah. So, I have no idea if the popularity of Nanoha has anything to do with this. It may not. But, you know, as we're getting more and more into these shows about, like, the little sister type character as a magical girl, we circle back to Sasami, right? So we had, like, our Pretty Sammy OVAs, our Pretty Sammy anime, and they're like, oh, but what if we did kind of like Sasami learning magic in an after-school club with, like, some of her friends at elementary school.
Hello, Alphabet Pizza. Welcome to the anime.
Hello. Explosion Limit says it's like they took one character from each Magical Girl show and made this one. Yeah, kind of. Like, it does kind of look like that.
Hello, Heltran, and hello, Miss Creative. Welcome.
Oh, hello. So yeah, so this is just kind of like a cute, light show. I think it reflects, again, like, the continuing popularity of Tenchi, and a desire to kind of keep making money off of Sasami as a magical girl. But this is a cute one to recommend if you're looking for something like low stakes and Tenchi adjacent.
Yeah, Lauren, that does look a lot like Cardcaptor Sakura there in the middle.
It does, yeah. You know, the character designs, I feel bad saying this, they remind me of this terrible show called Eumeria that I somehow watched all of.
Remember that? Like, that, like, tickled some weird thing way in the back of my brain.
Yeah, Eumeria is like horny Negima magical girl.
My God,
it's not good. It definitely feels like Love Hina knockoff.
Right. Sasami magical girl Sorry, Sasami Magical Girl Club was my first Magical Girl anime. Hulu had it on their site. Is it still on there?
Oh, cool.
That's cute.
I did not know it was on Hulu at one
Me
point.
either.
That's really cool. Also, I love that this was somebody's first one. That's so great.
Yeah.
Because this is just such a cute... Like, I don't have a ton to say about it analytically, but it's just like a really cute, fun show.
All right, Pretty Cure. Let's go.
Okay, so this... A couple of years into the whole Pretty Cure phenomenon, this is where Studio Toei starts to settle in what they want it to be like. So we've backed off the kicking and punching a little bit. We've expanded beyond a team of 2 to a team of like 5 or 6, roughly. And if you're looking at this and thinking Sailor Moon, you're not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have... The girls are color-coded. We have a theme that we stick to. We have, different elemental attacks, things like that. So I think that this is where Toei is getting really comfortable with the standard Magical Girl formula that they've continued for the last, 15 years past this point. This is also, funny enough, the last Pretty Cure show to ever get 2 seasons. So this aired for 2 years. Since then, they've only done... Each show gets 1 year, and then it's done. And then they move on to the next team, the next show. So if you try this one and happen to like it, you have a lot more episodes of it to watch.
Interesting. Was it just popular?
I think it was partially that it was popular, and maybe just partially that they were experimenting with, if we did do a second season, like we did for the very first Pretty Cure show, would people stick with it and watch it?
I see.
I think the business model that they do these days is pretty explicitly they know their audience ages out, so they just put out a new show every single year,
right.
So that you're always catching a fresh wave of kids, and I think that that's just as smart and valid as anything else, I guess.
Yeah, naming a show is a move. It's exciting,
Yes, Pretty Cure 5. Yeah,
yes.
And look, they put 5 in the title. They're so proud.
Pretty Cure 5.
Although there are 6 of them in the picture, but did Pretty Cures, they have a tendency to start with a certain number of magical girls and then they just shake more of them out of trees as they go. It's really nice.
That's great. All right, let's go. I don't know this one.
Oh, you don't know Shugo Chara? Really?
I don't know why it's showing in the background, but whatever.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
If anyone in the chat watched or read Shugo Chara, please raise your hand.
A salad popping off.
Yes. I did not read a ton of this, but it was super popular with my friends. I was sort of the weird girl left out of it wasn't my thing, But this show was really popular in Japan and in the States for a while.
Are those eggs?
They're eggs, yeah. I'm probably going to butcher the explanation slightly, so if people in the chat want to bolster this, please feel free. Basically, the main character is starting adolescence, and you have this opportunity, right, to decide what kind of adult you want to become. What's your personality going to be? And the main character has these 4 little eggs with different versions of herself, that different people she could become.
That's cute.
Sort of. And they each have a different outfit and a different power set, and there's other people with these eggs and these little avatars. And so this one was pretty popular. It's not quite your typical magical girl show, but I think that there was just something really nice about the art style. I'm trying to remember who did Peach Pit design this, or am I totally making that up?
Looks like Kodocha.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I don't think it's the same person, but
for a second I thought you said Nansha, and I was like,
no. I've only seen 1 episode of Shugo Chara. I have seen footage of it in AMV Hell. Miss Creative says yes.
Yeah, I know Miss Creative really likes it.
Yeah. Saddest Salad says I think it's Peach Pit.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, but I couldn't quite remember.
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like I have to give respect to this one because it had a big moment over here where it was big with the Barnes and Noble's manga crowd. You know that we were all once those kids.
Oh yes. All right, let's go more Precure.
Yeah, more Pretty Cure. They're still kind of toying with the formula at this point. Like each show from this kind of middle era of Pretty Cure, I would say is like pretty significantly different than the one before it. Like there's a lot of variety. So even if you don't like one Pretty Cure show, you might find you really like another one. Because they would have different directors, right? Different character designers, totally different like writers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look at they're like clamp proportions here. They got the really thin face and body.
The girls from Fresh are like super. When they're transformed, they look really tall and skinny.
Yeah. Explosion Limit says these designs look like they're trying to make them older.
Yeah, when they're transformed, I think they look way more like high schoolers. Which maybe is more of a Sailor Moon type approach. I don't think it's as dramatic in Sailor Moon, but
it's not, I don't think.
Yeah. So with Fresh, the big differences here are like we reduced the cast down to like just two or three of these girls to start, I think. So fewer characters, more interpersonal drama. They kind of deconstruct the like becoming the mask thing with the second girl from the left, the all pink one. And I think over time that became more and more common where in Pretty Cure you'd have like the ex-magical girl who doesn't want to get back in the game. Or
of course, like, yeah.
The enemy who was converted to being a magical girl, you know? I think in this case, if I remember right, she was a double agent. Like she was like, oh, I'm a magical girl now, and was like totally intending to stab everybody in the back, but then was like, my heart grew 3 sizes and I just can't, you know?
Of course.
Yeah, I think Satis Salad is right that this is like musical themed, so they're like dancers, like they have like castanets or something. I can't keep up with all the intricacies, but
yeah, there's a lot of Pretty Cure.
There's so much, which is great and also like terrifying.
There's so much because here's another one.
Another one, I know.
This one is the one I recognize like the most, I think.
Yeah, this is the one Satis Salad was recommending first. Yeah. And I just want to point out, right, like even compared to that last slide, it looks completely different.
Right.
Like these do not look like the same show at all.
No.
Totally different, like visual aesthetic. This one maybe is the most different from the typical Pretty Cure look. So yeah, so on the left there, the purple, that's what I was talking about with like your angsty ex-magical girl who doesn't want to get back in the game. Yeah. She's too traumatized, you know. They kept kind of the drama of Fresh Pretty Cure, but they also started out the show with just the two girls in the middle. So they kind of returned to like, okay, we'll do kind of a duo to start, and then we'll like build out.
Lauren says, is this the one with Mana?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Explosion Limit says, I like the purple one. It reminds me of Zakuro from Tokyo Mew Mew.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I should watch Tokyo Mew Mew. I haven't watched that in years.
It's, I mean, officially I do not endorse alternative means of media consumption, but if you go on YouTube and you look up Tokyo Mew Mew, you might find something. I don't know. Just on a lark here.
You can tell the purple one is angsty because you can't see her eyes. Exactly. She's got the emo swoop.
Yeah. And she looks like, it's like an emo swoop straight out of like the late 70s. Like she looks like she's from Casher and Sins or something.
She really does have that like Gundam air about her, I feel like here. The purple hair girl specifically.
Yeah.
Let's see. The animation in this one is great. I tried rewatching it recently. It's slower than I remember. I have that problem with a lot of animes, honestly.
And you know, speaking of the animation, like something that surprises people, I think, is that when you look at the corner of anime fandom that's just into the animation part, the people who like, you know, follow specific key animators and like collect if you've seen like silent GIFs of anime with no subtitles that are just like animation samples, like, there's a word for this community and I'm totally blanking. But
I don't know,
like
the people who collect animation cells and stuff.
yeah, like the diehard animator fans, you know. And those guys are actually super into Pretty Cure, and the reason is that they Toei uses this show. Sakuga, thank you. Oh my god. Yeah, the Sakuga fans. They are super into this show because Toei uses it as kind of like a way to train new animators and to like test out new techniques and stuff.
That's cool.
So, yeah, there's like individual episodes of this franchise as a whole that will have like totally mind-blowing animation and no one notices because it's in a show for small children.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so like if you Google Pretty Cure Sakuga, you'll find some really interesting stuff that people have like analyzed and talked about.
Bart says, "Are we still on Precure? I thought I was late enough to skip this." Wow.
No.
Wow.
Too bad for you. I'm to anyone who's like, "Wow, they're being really mean." We know him.
Yeah. We're not.
He has it coming.
Promise. Not being mean to someone I don't know. That would be really messed up.
Oh yeah. No.
Anything else on this one?
Not really. Just putting respect on it, you know.
All right.
Oh, okay.
A modern classic.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to know what to say about this show because inevitably, if you're old enough to remember it, like you have an opinion already. Yeah. So like, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but maybe I am. This is. If you don't know what this is, which is also totally fine, it's an anime that like you would think was an Adult Swim show.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got that sense of humor. It's got some of the same animators who worked on stuff like Gurren Lagann, and some people who would later be part of Studio Trigger.
I feel like that is such, you can see that lineage, or like you can see that just so clearly to me. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Guy next does Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, exactly. So it is very different looking from a typical anime, whatever that is. It's super adult, very like potty mouth sense of humor. And they sort of riff on Magical Girls by having the transformation sequence for these two characters who are angels be animated in more of a traditional animation style, but also be like super horny.
Yeah, it's very horny. You know,
they're like on the stripper pole, transforming into these like hot angel outfits. There's like a great insert song that goes with it.
Static says this show has such a good English dub. This show is really popular in the West. Like, I remember so many of my friends were into this show.
Very, very popular.
Yeah.
And I think it was popular even with people who are like, "Oh, I'm not an anime person," you know. But but the show was just so different from that. Fly Away Now. Yeah, that was the song. There were so many like electronic remixes of that song. Like if you go on YouTube, there's so much like dubstep and nightcore and just everything. Yeah, so I mean, I just think that it's like Magical Girls is hardly what this show is on a larger level, but like it's definitely it's doing eyebrows at you while it's like, ooh, see, I can do this too. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Black Rock Shooter.
Yes. Okay, so first off, when I put a 2010 date on this, I'm actually talking about the original OVA, not the television show from 2013 or 2014. That TV show did just get picked up by Funimation, I think. Or no, Discotek. So it's finally coming out over here. So if you like what I'm talking about, please check this franchise out. It's so underappreciated.
Sorry, quick sidebar. Lauren says, "Did you already cover Toho?" We have not covered Toho, I don't think.
She's trolling. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to talk about Toho. I'm sorry.
That's a video
Toho
game.
Well, I mean, I get why I would cover Toho. I'm just not going to because I'm not well versed enough.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Lauren can come on the show and talk about Toho if you want to hear about
that. Sounds fun. All I know about Black Rock Shooter is Hatsune Miku.
Right, which I feel like is sort of like, at this point, a little unfair, but like, I get why people bring that up, because that's like how it started. So it was like, they got the guy who did character designs for Steins Gate to do this art to go with a Hatsune Miku music video.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it was to begin with, right? And then these character designs were well liked, and Good Smile Company, which produces like Figmas and Nendoroids, these like big anime figures, you know. They were like, we'll put some money behind this. Like, we make something, you know? And so they made this OVA in 2010, and then a full TV show like 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's actually super cool. Because the premise is basically like Persona, if it's Persona if you didn't know you were in Persona. So, like, in the original OVA, these two girls in the middle are, like, striking up a friendship, getting to know each other, everything's great, and then one day, like, this rift starts to form between them, and you kind of wonder, like, are they actually having this fight and drifting apart, or is, like, something going on, you know? And in this other world, this world of, like, the mind or whatever, these other two characters that look like them, but that have, like, giant scythes and laser guns and stuff, are, like, fighting it out.
Interesting.
And then, yeah. And so after Black Rock Shooter, who has the flames coming out of her eye, after she wins the fight, the two girls are friends again. Like, their problems are resolved.
Explosion
so when the
Limit wants to know if it's gay at all. Hard-hitting question.
Not really. I wish that it was, but it's not. They're just, like, very good friends, TM.
It's just friendship.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who have produced good doujinshi, but... So in the original OVA, this was, like, very, like, left to interpretation, very, like, understated. And then in the anime, they really dive into this idea that, like, the things that happen between these characters in real life are somehow tied to, like, these other world battles, you know? But they're not aware of each other, right? Like, you know, this girl has no idea that, like, in her dreams or whatever, she's, like, off shooting people with the gun arm. Yeah, so I think it's a cool premise, and this show, like, got no attention over here, and it just makes me super bummed, because it is cool.
Yeah, literally all I knew of, I thought it was just, like, a Hatsune Miku, like album thingy, I don't know.
Right, like an image album kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
God, they were roommates. Yeah. Alright, I'm intrigued by Black Rock Shooter, not gonna lie. Let's go to the pinnacle of magical girls.
Oh God, yeah. No, I mean, not really, but those of you who are, like, recovered pony fandom people like me, you know why I'm bringing this up. It's not because the whole show is a magical girl show, but the first 2 seasons of Friendship is Magic, like, had, I don't know what you would call it, an ongoing plot that they occasionally returned to.
Yeah.
That featured, like, the main character ponies all having, like, a magical amulet that activated their powers, and then with their hearts combined, they can shoot a bad guy with a laser, you know? So at least in those original 2 seasons, there was this, like, magical girl element that they would, like, trot out, I'm really sorry, once in a while, just to, like, pretend that they had an ongoing plot, you know? I have so many, like, I just know, as like a self-admitted recovering pony person, I have so many, like, horrible feelings about this show now, but, no, I mean, like, at the time, you know.
Besides all the baggage that comes with it, it's a good show. You know?
Yeah, I think, like, when it very first came out and it wasn't, like, too weird yet, I really, really adored this show for, like, those first 2 years. But yeah, it feels like one of those things that got ruined by the internet, and then you just look back on that time where you were, like, slowly pulling away from something, and you're like, oh God, you know?
Yeah. Sophia says, I realized I was a trans woman in 2011 and yet somehow never got into the show. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only trans girl from then who did it. Honestly, yeah. you like, Matrix dodge the pony. Lauren says, I'm a trans woman. I've never watched a single episode. damn it, we need to get you some My Little Pony.
I'm sort of just now realizing that, like, someone I knew as a teenager who later came out as a trans woman, I'm like, wait, we used to talk about ponies. Like, I'm having this moment now.
All right, every person who takes estradiol has to watch My Little Pony. Sorry, I don't make the rules, but all right. Anything else on My Little Pony?
No, just to acknowledge that, like a lot of American shows in the last, like, 10 years, it has a lot of, like, magical girl influence, you know what I mean? But which I guess is funny because Lauren Faust worked on Powerpuff Girls, which became a magical girl show, and then she made My Little Pony, which has magical girl, like, DNA, so it's all circular, you know?
Hey, Jock Roundabear. I used to sell My Little Pony stuff at cons. It was huge. And now
I still have some.
Well, now the fandom has kind of melded with the furry community into one. So it's still around. It's still going.
Yeah.
All right.
I did really enjoy that Jenny Nichols documentary about, like, the last big BronyCon.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
I thought that was really a good video.
Oh, yeah, it was nice.
All right. Let's go to Detective Opera Milky Holmes.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those shows that I'm featuring because it's magical girl-ish, not really, like, explicitly a magical girl show.
Mm-hmm.
This property is owned by Bushiroad, which, for people who don't know, is like a Japanese, it's a production company that mostly makes trading card games. And someone in the chat is going to be like, and other stuff, and I'm going to be like, I know, but trading card games, mostly. And so, you know, ostensibly these are just cute girl detectives. They merchandised very well in Japan, if you can imagine that. Go figure. But again, like, there's a visual language here that's being borrowed from magical girls, right?
Yeah.
So, like, having a team of 4, you know, pre-adolescent girls in different colors that all have matching outfits and do, like, a task together kind of bleeds out from Sailor Moon, from the Sentai influence. It just becomes, like, a larger part of the anime now. So yeah, it's sort of like pretending to be a magical girl show.
Sorry, I just read, God, the internet has ruined Milky for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like magical angel creamy mommy.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh God. Yeah. Creamy, milky. Just like. Ugh.
Milky.
I really like these character designs. I think they're really cute. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, they're super cute. I mean, the show was, like, made to sell stuff, but I respect it because it's, like, a solid hustle, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lauren says, I don't know if this show is gay, but the voice cast has giant lesbian Azumi Kita. I don't know her. Who else does she do? Or who else does she voice?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm not like a big, like, voice actor head. I know some people are like, oh, it's this person. I'm not as, like, up on that.
Mm-hmm. To answer Lauren's question, if I remember correctly, it's not, like, gay, but it's like we're very cute, good friends, and we cuddle sometimes. You know, that kind of, like.
It's one of those.
One of those, yeah. That's what they call the class S. You know.
Salad says Detective Milky Herlock Sholmes.
So true, though.
All right.
Izumi Kito's writing a Yuri manga. That's so cool.
That is really cool. I was going to say, this is probably a good time to take a break, because next we're going to start Madoka Magica, and that's probably going to be a big, chunky period, so...
I'll collect my thoughts, yeah.
Yeah, everyone collect your thoughts. We'll take, like, a 5-6 minute break, and we'll come back with Madoka Magica. Let me turn off all my stuff here.
Okay.
To electronics, right back there. They'd be happy to help you.
All right, thank you.
Hi there. What can I do for you?
Customer service sent me over to talk to you and give this to you. If you take a look at it, I don't know what's the matter with it. It was working and now it's not working.
Wow!
So I appreciate if you, take a look at it. I'd like to get an exchange for it if I could.
An exchange?
Yes, sir.
Do you have... Well, I guess I'd better take a look
Why
at it
don't you
here.
take a look at it?
Yeah.
That's right, thank you.
Do you know what's on here?
No. I mean, the kids couldn't have done anything. I mean, they're good kids.
Sometimes they'll put soft drink or something on there.
No, it's not soda pop. I don't know. It was fine. I would just. I'd appreciate it if I had an exchange on it. I have an appointment. I gotta get going.
I'd really like to help you out here, but I don't, an exchange.
Listen, you guys have been great in the past, and you've always taken care of me, and I'd appreciate an exchange.
But, the warranty does specify that you have to keep it really clean because it doesn't work if it gets dirty.
Some people will go to great lengths to return an abused or an out-of-warranty piece of merchandise. What are you supposed to do? Tell them what you really think? Of course you can't do that. And how about the customer who tries to bully you into taking back something you know isn't broken? These guys are a real problem.
You people amaze me. You really amaze me. Your quality control people, they just have bats in the belfry. Bought this Game Boy yesterday, took it home, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No picture. I'm pretty sure it's the EEPROM, so if you just want to take a look at that, I'd fix it myself, but I don't really have the tools, so I'll take my money back if you...
I'm sorry you had a problem. There's nothing at all, huh?
Nope.
Well, let's see.
EEPROM.
Power on. Battery looks okay. There's the tone. And give it a moment. And... got the music. Here we go. I think this is probably the problem. Yeah. Just needed to turn up the contrast a bit. How's that look?
Oh. Of course, the contrast. I think that was probably my kid didn't... I'll take it. I'll take it.
Take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about the nice guys who actually have a legitimate problem? In many ways, they're the toughest of all to take care of.
The controller doesn't work.
Oh.
There's a picture, but there's no action. Probably I didn't read the instructions right.
I'll just take a look here and see how it works.
I didn't want to have to bring it in, but I just couldn't get it to work. And
There you go. It's working now.
Oh, look, sweetie, it's working. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I'm
Now tell me, when you plugged it in, did you put it into port number 1 or port number 2?
I put it in port number 2.
Okay, well, plug it into number 1. Because if you put it into number 2, it won't work.
Oh, I can't believe
That's
it.
a simple mistake.
I'm sorry, honey. It was really something.
It's easy to see that all customers are not the same. But no matter what size or shape they come in, and no matter what kind of products they're bringing back, they all have one thing in common. They feel they have a problem. Now for the good news. Nintendo is doing something about it. Something that will make your job a whole lot easier.
Could I bring you a pie later?
Last year, Nintendo of America sold over 90 million pieces of Game Boy, Nintendo Entertainment Systems, game packs, and accessories. Only a small percent of those products that were returned by your customers were actually defective. An excellent track record for a high-quality product. That's why the seal of quality goes on every one of our products. In many cases, the customer simply failed to follow the simple directions packaged with their product, so they come running to you. And that's a waste of time for everybody. But what are you supposed to do? You're not a Nintendo mechanic, you're a customer service specialist. Well, Nintendo has the solution to this dilemma. Next time one of your customers comes into your store with a Nintendo product after you've sold it, you'll have the answer.
What can I do for you?
Well, I'm having a little problem with, my kids are having a little problem with the Nintendo system.
All right, let's take a look at it and see what the problem is.
Well, it just seems to be a solid color on the TV screen.
Okay, so you put the game in, fire it up.
And it's just blank, solid color.
Well, does it look anything like either of these two right here?
Oh, the blue one.
By spending a few minutes reviewing the Nintendo troubleshooting guide, you can probably answer 90% of the questions that come your way.
The common problem, as you can see there, it's a result of dirty connectors. It comes from, not maintaining the equipment properly, getting a little dust, a little dirt in there.
So what do I do?
So what you need to do is you need to use this Nintendo cleaning kit. It's just like cleaning the heads in your VCR. It goes in there, cleans up the connectors there, cleans up the connectors inside the game packs. You're all set. Back in business.
That's all I need?
That's all you need.
Terrific. How much is it?
It's $11.95. Why don't you take this service brochure with you too? It'll help you if you need to troubleshoot anything.
Okay, hello.
Okay. And if this gives you any more trouble like that, I recommend you call the Nintendo World.
I am good. I have written down a bunch of Madoka notes, and now I feel prepared.
Or you can call the the local service center. Their number here is 555-3700.
Thanks, Jim.
Hey, come back and see us again.
Even when you don't have the time to spend with the customer or have the final answer, Nintendo's got the answer to the problem.
Hello. Woohoo. Haven't thought of a Watsumote in a minute.
Oops. Thank you. I was just going to say thank you, Only Magical, for following, and thank you, Lauren, for explaining Izumi Kita. And I was just going to say, I think Only Magical also does Magical Girl content, so if you want to go check them out. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go check that out. And yeah, we're going to move on to Madoka Magica. Here we are. Woo!
Right.
All right.
Okay.
What do we even say about Madoka Magica?
I mean, I think for better or worse, mostly better, I want to say. It's like tied with Sailor Moon as like the best known magical girl anime and probably one of the biggest things to have like changed the direction of the genre. I mean, since we did the 60s, we've seen like a lot of shifts in terms of like what people considered a magical girl show. And I think that at least for the adult kind of anime fan type demographic, this really shifted the magical girl genre into like a decidedly like dark, edgy, deconstruction type of place. It kind of reminds me of Ava in a sense, because like
they're doing kind of the same thing.
Like it's a similar treatment of a genre.
Yeah.
It's over marketed and over merchandised to within an inch of its life at this point.
Yeah.
And yet when you actually sit down and watch the thing, you're like, oh, all of the crappy figures and calendars and spin-offs had blinded me to how good this thing actually is. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to forget that like Madoka is just that good.
Yeah.
Like that people aren't, in my opinion at least, people are not like overhyping it. It's just that I think the way that we remember the show and what we think it was actually about is kind of twisted.
Right. It is like Eva in that way, because they're both overly merchandised out to hell. Oh no, my ring just broke. Oh well. It's a crappy little ring. It's fine. I was just playing with it too much. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry.
Yeah,
the chat's going off. I'm trying to read. I couldn't get into Madoka. I got one episode or two in. One of these days I'll give it another try. I personally really love Madoka because one, it's super short, which I think is to its benefit. Two, it is a deconstruction of the genre, and three, it has really great animation. There's just so much good stuff to like about Madoka, I think. Also, it is firmly gay, yes.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, I was gonna say like pretty much, but like the answer is just yes.
Yeah, Explosion Limit says they don't fully go there. There's not a lot of animes that do, honestly.
Yeah,
I can't think of many.
Like if I had to put it on a line, like a gradient or something, I would put it like I would put it somewhere between like Class S and Nanoha, where like we would never explicitly acknowledge that this is a romantic relationship, but there's no, like, if you read the behind the scenes booklets or you watch the commentary or interviews with everyone, they're like, yeah, but it doesn't feel like it's even willing to like as firmly do it as say like Nanoha was. So I get why people sort of feel like it's a little wishy-washy about it. Like that's a totally legitimate feeling.
Only Magical says the mangas are very, very good too. I haven't read the mangas. I should do that.
There's a bunch of them, and I think like, I mean, if I was talking about the spin-offs, I'm sure I could go all day. Like, I think there are some of the manga that are really, really good, and like I would almost consider Different Story like required reading if you liked the anime, because it's just like really, really good.
Yeah.
There were a couple that I didn't like as much, but I think Only Magical is right that like the manga are probably a little underappreciated over here, and there's a lot of different ones. Per Explosion Limits question, the anime came first. This was actually Studio Chef's first original property in like a decade when they did this.
Yeah, it's one of those weird. I mean, it happens occasionally, but usually I feel like it's the manga first.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends on the thing, but
I mean,
a lot of times.
With anime, it's like a better investment, right, to go with a known property, which is why you get so much of the like novel and manga to anime pipeline.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're gonna make an original show, you have to really convince producers and shareholders that it's worth it. And this show was worth it for sure.
Yeah, it's just like influenced so much. Like, I'm a big Nier fan. There wouldn't be Nier without Madoka Magica. There wouldn't be like all of the newer kind of edgier like magical girl stuff. Like, what's the new one that is the egg one?
Oh, Wonder Egg Priority.
Yeah, like Wonder Egg Priority wouldn't exist without this.
Probably fair. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that like when you actually sit down and watch it, like it's not just that it's trying to be like darker and edgier, right? And I think maybe that's part of the issue is like it influenced the genre to go to a darker, grittier, edgier place, but that's not necessarily what the point of this show was, really.
Right.
I mean, people said like, oh, Urobuchi is making magical girls for adults, and he was like, well, that's not what I'm doing. Like, you know, by his own admission, he's like, I grew up in the 70s. I watched Sally and Akko and Meg and he watched all the 60s and 70s magical girls as a little boy living in Japan. Good for him. And he was like, I don't even consider myself to be like parodying or like trying to, this is not a translation. He's not trying to shit on those things. You know what I mean? Like, in his eyes, he was like, I'm doing something legitimate in trying to like tell this type of story.
Right. Manga first is more normal. It's interesting when manga comes second because they're more likely to do more stuff with it. Right. Expect Studio Trigger / Gynax anime first. Yeah, that happens pretty much every single time.
Right.
The animation, the stuff they do, and it was really cool and unexpected to me with the witches. I love that animation style. I think the hand-drawn kind of like experimental animation style. Stupid cool. Super cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an all-star production. Like, I would compare it to, you know, Utena, where you had like directors and animators and producers and musicians, and like everybody at every level was so talented and brought so many good ideas that it's just packed with good stuff.
Yeah. Also, I said this already, but so many anime should be 12 episodes long. Sorry. But so many animes are so long, and this is just a nice little, like, it's like a little snack, you know?
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I think over here that isn't, like, clear about it, the way that it came out at the time, right? I'm not going to spoil it, but in Japan, the first 10 episodes aired, you know, and then episode 10 aired, which if you have not seen the show is like a huge twist.
Yeah.
Probably everyone knows what it is, but I won't say it anyway.
Yeah.
It was a huge shift for the show. Like, it changed your whole understanding of what you were watching.
Yeah.
And then the Tohoku earthquake happened.
Oh, God.
And basically the country was in a state of mourning, and so there were no new episodes of most TV shows for like weeks. Video game releases got pushed back or changed. Like, Final Fantasy XIV totally like pushed back a bunch of boss fights.
I remember that.
Sensitive.
Yeah.
Ton of stuff. So 2 months go by and there's none of this show. And in the meantime, like, the Japanese internet lost it, because everybody who had not been watching this show up to that point was suddenly convinced, right, by everyone losing it on 2chan, and reruns were on TV. So in the 2 months that there were no new anime, everybody watched the show.
Oh my god.
And then they aired the last 2 episodes back to back on Good Friday, which, if you know anything about how the show ends, yes, it is very weird that it aired on like the major, it's like Holy Week, and we're airing the end of this anime.
Oh my god. Let's see. Yeah, Sadasella said, sorry, I remember being on forums while this was airing and people were translating the witch language on the fly.
Yes. Akiyuki Shinbo actually was asked about that, and he was like, I didn't think that anyone would ever bother to translate it, and he was like, American fans are terrifying. Those were his words. He was like, I cannot believe that they did this.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize the witches were speaking an understandable language. Me either.
It's the writing. Like, when they talk, if you look at the writing on the screen around them, that's what they're saying.
Only Magical says,
like
I didn't even know about the earthquake. I'm assuming that's what they mean. I think I saw it when it was fully released. Yeah, that's what I did too.
Yeah.
I saw it like a couple years after it released. People were like cross-referencing stuff with Goth. It was wild.
Yeah, because there's all these references to like Faust and all these German essentialists. It's crazy.
Sorry, my gamer chair is super uncomfortable, so it sounds like farty leather sounds. Excuse me.
No, you're good.
I'm not farting.
What was the only other thing I was gonna say? Oh yeah, the only other thing I was gonna say was that when the finale aired, it was live streamed at the same time on Nico Nico, which is like a Japanese YouTube. Yeah. At the time, that was occasionally anime would be streamed there. 1 million people watched it just on Nico Nico.
Oh wow!
Which at the time was the most people who had ever tuned in simultaneously to watch anime on the internet.
Wow!
I'm sure it's been exceeded since then because streaming is bigger. But at the time, it was like
2011.
2011, yeah.
Yeah, that was like way before streaming was like, you know.
Yeah. So it's hard to understate how much this show was just a smash hit in like every sense of the word globally. Yeah, I really like it, even if I don't always like the things that it inspired in the genre.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's iconic. I think it is necessary watching for if you want to get into anime in general, I think, but I don't know. There's a lot of anime though. So, any final thoughts on Magica?
Do I have anything else right now? I'm just looking at my notes real quick. Just, I guess just like a shout out to like how many memes it inspired. Like this no, but this was very much a 4chan anime. Like everybody, people in the chat I saw were like being Makuga suffering. Like these are that was one of the things about this anime over here was like people memed it to death. So
thank you, Raining Clouds, for following. I appreciate that. Yeah, this anime was a huge deal, and this was around the time that I was like starting to get back into anime because I kind of took a little break for a couple years, and this was like, oh, we're back, baby, we're back in the anime time. Let's fucking go. So it has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh, this is cute.
It is cute.
Uh-oh, it's problematic.
No, it's not, well, it's not problematic, it's not that, it's just, okay. This was originally a short YouTube video series. It's from Gynax. Pour one out for Gynax, press F in the chat.
Press F.
Rest in peace, but also you screwed over a lot of people, Gynax.
Yeah.
So it was these YouTube shorts, and then it got turned into an anime subsequently, like a full TV show. But the thing is that this isn't really. It's a Subaru ad.
What? Like, sorry, I'm taking my Invisalign out.
Oh, you're fine. They're trying to sell you cars with this picture right now.
What?
So let me break this down.
Thank you for the host, by the way, Raining Clouds. I appreciate you.
So they're Pleiades themed, right? Like the constellation. Subaru means Pleiades in Japanese. That's the name of it. You see that they all have like, if you looked closely, they have the Subaru logo on their outfits, and their brooms kind of thing that they're riding make car sounds. What? So they literally go like vroom vroom, you know, like they make a car sound.
I think my mind just got blown.
It's very deeply weird, and the fact that it actually got a full show, I was like, wow, I'm impressed. Like, enough people watched this YouTube ad that we're doing it for real now.
Sophia says if it's a Subaru ad, it means it's really good. That's, running theme.
Sounds right to me, you know?
Sadisella says the show is good, though. I am intrigued.
Oh, it is. Honestly, it is really cute. The characters are really nice. It's a perfectly nice magical girl show, and it is really fun to watch the show. Check out the shorts, too. They're not... The thing is, like, if you didn't know it was an ad, you'd be like, this is a little off, but I can't figure out why. But it is legitimately a cute series. So if you like Studio Gynax or Magical Girls, it's a fun one.
It's like the Pizza Hut in oh my god, I'm
Code Geass.
Yeah, Code Geass, there you go.
Yeah. Fun fact, that was Code Geass was right after they changed the law in Japan to make product placement in TV shows like they deregulated it basically. And Pizza Hut was like, boom, we're gonna get in on this. You know, like right out the gate, Pizza Hut was like, we have money. So, but yeah, that's how we ended up with this. So
Subaru, rainbow capitalism before it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a perfect Pride Month anime for you.
Lauren Haley says, are they gay cars? Not yet.
Them. No, that's more of an Utena thing.
Yeah, we only accept gay cars in this house. It's true. All right, here we go. Another one. Let's fucking go.
Okay, so this is like if I had to pick a favorite Pretty Cure, it's this one, but that's cheating because this is the only one I watched most of. So I'm biased, obviously. This show was a lot more popular than the previous Pretty Cures had been, and it created a new problem, which was that they have live events like based around this franchise in Japan, right? Mm-hmm. Like they might have like people in outfits perform at a local mall or like in the park, or they might have events where you can come meet actresses or get something signed or whatever. It's very cute, yeah. These events were originally intended for small children.
That was the next question out of my mouth. I was like, is it kids who go or creepy old dudes?
Well, starting with this show, it was both, and so that was a big problem because the mothers were complaining because there were moms who were like, I don't feel comfortable with all these strange single men around my children.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So what they ended up doing was starting with Smile Pretty Cure. All of the Pretty Cure like live events are essentially segregated so that in the afternoon it's just for kids and you can only come in with a child if you're an adult.
Yeah. So
like moms and dads only basically.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, like everyone else can come.
That's kind of smart, honestly.
Yeah.
Only Magical says I'm all about Precure. I don't know much about it. I was gonna message you about that. I don't know enough about Precure, probably. With all that rainbow, this one should be gay. I feel like no Precure is gay.
There's some gay characters in the newest one, I thought.
Okay.
I don't know if they were main characters or side characters, but there was definitely an episode about how like it's okay to dress in boys' clothes or girls' clothes or whatever clothes. So, some stuff.
Sada Salad said, my first prize figure I won was Cure Happy. Aw, that's cute.
Yeah, the one in the middle. She's great.
There's a rumor right now that the current season Tropical Rogue is going to have the All-Stars movie with Smiles, and they're a Precure gay. Maho Sukai, the two main girls are gay, and there's a canon kiss in the manga. That's cute.
That's the gay one, yes, thank you. I could not remember.
That sounds good to me. I love gay magical girls.
Mm-hmm. So what else about this show? Also on, following up on like the segregation of events thing, this was also the first time that somebody from Studio Toei put out like a letter basically being like, you can publish whatever filth you want at Comiket, but please stop putting your dirty fan art of Pretty Cure online. Because they were like, kids see that when they Google the show.
Oh.
So please stop. And it's like super embarrassing that had to happen at this juncture, but it was. I think the genre as a whole was just taking off with the older fans, and inevitably there was
this was like slightly after it started to like turn a little bit more, like at least to me how I perceived it. I don't know, like it like around My Little Pony time, it like really started to ramp up with like older dudes being into like cuter stuff. Not that wasn't there before, but I feel like I personally noticed it more.
Yeah.
Around this time. Let's see. There's also one episode of a male Precure that it's also gay. That sounds fun.
Oh, interesting. I think I remember hearing about that. I'm glad we have people, Sada Salad and Only Magical, and other people in the chat who know stuff that I don't.
Yeah, that's a big problem with 18 plus Precure art merch. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Also shout out to the last Precure show telling kids that you aren't obligated to help your own abuser. Fuck yeah. Love to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Smile Precure, really good season. Kind of had like a Grimm's fairy tale theme. I think the next slide is the dub, because this was the first Precure show to get localized over here. So there is Glitter Force. So Saban, which did like the Power Rangers shows back in the 90s, licensed this, and it got the kind of dub that we used to get when we were kids, right? So like the characters have American names. They took out any episodes that were like so Japanese that there was no way to cover it, basically.
No Girls Day episode, sorry.
I think for Smile, like, they took out the trip to Kyoto because they were like, we don't even know what to do with this. Like, this doesn't make sense.
Only Magical says I really don't like Glitter Force. They take out the cultural episodes. Yeah, they do that in like Hamtaro too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's sort of like this weird tension, right? Where like, on the other hand, some of the more recent Pretty Cure shows are also just ending up on like Crunchyroll and stuff, where you can just watch them in their original form, which is great. I think at the same time we do have this like kind of rising interest from the kids TV people over here, so we're getting like Glitter Force for these 2 seasons of Pretty Cure. I mean, I don't know if there's like a perfect answer. Like I know people were very disappointed that it got like a 4 kids type dub, but you know, on some level I think back to when we were kids, and that's how a lot of us got into anime, so maybe there's a generation of kids now that are just gonna like this a lot, and I don't want to begrudge them that either.
Yeah, that's a super good point. It's like not for us. Yeah, Vin's here. Vin, what do you think about Magical Girls, Vin? He's like, I'm the magical girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Magical girl Vinny.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's done. Oh, no, he's not. Okay. He just wants to sit in my lap. Okay, let's go to Amethyst, Princess of Gem World.
So this is a small thing. This is like a series of shorts that were aired on Cartoon Network at one point.
Oh, really?
They had this event on Cartoon Network in 2012 where they were like, they basically had a bunch of like 20 to 30 minute shorts made, and then they divided them up into 4 to 5 minute chunks and aired them as like this is a dumb explanation. It's like a film festival for kids. So it was like, hey kids, all month long we're going to be airing these little pieces of different DC shorts, like DC Comics shorts.
They did that kind of stuff on like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network back in the day.
Yeah, they did. So basically, like, and this is a throwback, like Amethyst, Princess of Gem World was a girls' fantasy comic from DC Comics in the 80s.
Wow.
The main character finds out that she is Amethyst, Princess of Gem World, obviously. She has to go back to her kingdom and like save it from an evil sorcerer by like collecting gems and stuff.
This block was called DC Nation. Oh wow.
DC Nation, thank you. That's what it was. See, people are smart.
Yeah.
And so this particular little short film basically reimagined Amethyst as, instead of like just going through a portal, she gets sucked into a magical girl style video game that she has, and that's how she like becomes Amethyst. It's a really cute short. It's a really, as Salad said, it's a really good idea. And I think if they had made a whole show of this, that would have been really fun. They didn't. It was just kind of a 20-minute thing. But I think, again, it's just another example of, like, kids media in the West is kind of replete with a lot of these magical girl influences that we've seen over time.
Right.
I also think Amethyst is just a really cool character in general, and I wish DC would do something with her.
Oh wow! Sorry, I was like, what is this one?
Okay. I have to take like a really deep breath.
Oh no!
It's fine. First of all, I want to say if you like the show, it's totally fine. I'm not judging you. I don't really like it, but I did like watch the whole thing anyway, so I don't know what I'm complaining about.
What? I want to know what's so bad. Oh god, is it like super pervy and weird?
So this is like, it's post Madoka, and we're really into like dark, edgy, gritty, and right, like as if that was the point, which it's not exactly. Magical Girl Raising Project was a manga in 2012, or no, a light novel. I'm sorry. And then in 2016 it got animated, so you'll see I kind of have both dates here. It's basically like Magical Girl Battle Royale. Oh. So we start out like, you can be a magical girl, and it's fine for like 2 episodes or something, and then it all goes horribly wrong when they have to like fight each other to the death.
Oh no.
Again, it wasn't like I watched the whole thing and it wasn't really for me, and I kind of was like, oh, I don't like this, but I know a lot of people did, particularly because like it did have... This is very controversial. Some people really liked the queer and trans characters in this show, and some people hated them. I think that I get why they're controversial. There were 2 like happily together lesbian characters in the story that I probably don't have to tell you ends horribly, but everything ends horribly, so it's...
Oh god.
They're not really different than the other characters in that respect. The character on the left there, in their like normal non-magical girl forms, that's a male classmate of the main character. He gets signed up to be a magical girl just like everybody else, and he transforms and then has this magical girl form. The character's not called transgender, so to speak, but they use she/her pronouns for the most part. And the character is like, I'm really happy like this. I really like this. This is great. And some people really liked that as a character concept.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. And again, like, nothing ends happily for any of these people, so whether you think that's bury your gaze or that's just how it goes in this show, that's a subjective opinion, I think. But this was pretty popular.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right. Like, the character's never called trans.
Sidebar. Amethyst recently had a mini comic. That's cool.
I should check that out. That's so cool.
Let's see. Dragon Ball Magical Girl. Yeah, kind of. They are never called trans. Yeah, I feel like sometimes people writing trans characters don't have the language for them, or like they don't really know what to call those people.
Right.
Sadasala, do you like edge? Do you like edge girls?
And you know, being edgy is almost like, I understand that it's part of the appeal for this show. Like, even I very grudgingly have to respect that there's a magical girl called Hardcore Alice.
Yeah. That's
just really good. Like, I have to, you know, admit that. Yeah, and I think, like, vis-a-vis the queer representation of it all, there's no perfect opinion, right? Because, like, this is... I know that characters like these are important to people, and other people really don't like them, and that's, you know, that's just how it goes.
Only Magical says, like, Seiya. Yes. I wish... We should just do one... We should do a talk where we only talk about Sailor Moon. Cause
that would be really fun.
I could talk about Seiya forever. I love Seiya.
The older I get, the more I appreciate Seiya so much. I'm like, oh damn, what the fuck?
Seiya fucking owns. Hardcore Alice is an excellent name, I agree. It's very funny. Alright, well, that's interesting. Oh, here comes. This is Sada Salad's activation phrase here. I'm waiting for her to pop off.
Yeah, there's like a delay in the chat, but my feelings about Prisma Ilia have really cooled, and I will explain why. But
it's time for the worst Fate product, says Lauren.
No, that's not fair though. Also, I to be fair, I think Sada Salad just likes Rin more than she likes Prisma Ilia, which is fine.
Valid.
So this is basically like Nanaha and Pretty Sammy and Komugi and all those. This is one of those little sister spin-offs, right? Mm-hmm. We take a popular little sister character, broadly speaking, from a visual novel, and we make her a man.
Oh no! Oh no, Jess froze! Let's pray that Jess comes back. Okay, Prisma Ilia is a mess. However, oh no! I hope Jess's internet didn't go down. Let's see if it comes back. It might come back. Here, let me hide this while we see if she returns. I hope the power didn't go out. Of course. Okay. Prisma Ilia is a mess. However, that part in Hollow Axtria when Rin is locked in a closet by Ruby slaps. The movie's good though. Lauren, you're in the same household as Jess. Is your internet broke? Yeah. I'm still online. Gonna reboot. Okay. No problem. How's everyone in the chat doing? How's your day? Might just be Discord or something. Who knows? Oh, she's back. Okay. She's back!
Oh, am I here? Okay.
Yeah, you're here.
Sorry, I think it was just the connection was not good.
That's okay.
Okay, I don't know where I left off. Basically,
Fate.
Yeah, Fate Stay Night spin-off. Type Moon these days, and like the Fate franchise in general, is big and confusing and complicated, but basically, magical girl show for the Fate universe. And originally it is, as Sada Salad said, it is derived from a segment of the second visual novel, which had a bunch of like comedic beats in it, where the girl in red there gets turned into a cat magical girl. And then someone was like, gee, we should do a whole manga of that. And here
yes, we are. Of course.
If you like the Fate franchise, you should check this out. It's fun. If you like magical girls in general, you might like this. Even if the lore goes over your head a little bit, it's basically Cardcaptor Sakura, you know, I have to collect all these cards by beating these monsters, and each one gives me a new outfit / weapon that I can use. It's pretty straightforward.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it is.
I want to hear why you've cooled on it. Sorry, I'm like.
And I should preface this by saying, like, I was really into this show. I had posters, I had merch, I had multiple figures. Like, I was invested with a capital I in this property. And then in the third season, I think, they had, like, a bunch of filler episodes. And in one of those filler episodes, one of the main character's friends is under the mistaken impression that she's gay. Because she saw her kissing another girl, for which it's an anime, there's a perfectly logical explanation for blah 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 blah, whatever. I'm not even faulting them for...
I was fixing her lip gloss, what?
Yeah, and you know, I'm skipping over the kissing scene,
yeah,
which
it's okay. Don't worry.
Problematic and gross.
Yeah.
But basically, the friend is convinced that she's gay. She therefore thinks that it would be okay to disclose that she writes a lot of gay fan fiction and collects gay manga, and she's not saying she's gay, but that's how everyone takes it. And the episode basically turns into all of the friends explaining to her that that's gross, it's wrong, girls can't get married, and you should keep these feelings to yourself or no one's going to want to be your friend. And this is like explicitly laid out over like a 5 to 10 minute scene.
God.
And it's kind of like one of the most explicitly homophobic things I've ever seen
Oof,
in
that's
anime.
rough.
Like, I was really upset.
Like, they could have just not said anything. Like, what?
Right, like, even if you were gonna poke fun at the character, to, like, have them basically shame her into going back into the closet, so to speak, is, like, really aggressively
It's fucking
homophobic.
sad.
It's really sad. And yeah, as Lauren pointed out, like, I'm not saying the Fate franchise is the pinnacle of gay representation. It's definitely not. But
a lot of these aren't.
A lot of these aren't,
Yeah.
right? But, you know, if you're a fan of the franchise, right, like, we all know that Rin is bisexual, and there's an ending in that video game where Rin ends up in a polyamorous triad with a girl and a boy. Like, it's... You know, it's not good representation per se, and I don't expect that from the writers, but there were things there to like.
Frankly, I don't expect that from a lot of media these days.
Yeah.
I kind of just
this
take
one,
what I can.
Yeah, this one really caught me below the belt. I made the mistake. I trusted too much. So, if you're gonna get into this show, I recommend you just skip the first half of season 3. It's all garbage.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like some bad shit, says Sophia. Yeah, it sounds like something I wouldn't like. And then they have the audacity to lean in on Yuri fan service. There's so many shows that do that. There's so many shows that do that. Sad as salad, sad emoji.
Yeah. Yeah, these are
right.
all my complicated feelings. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, okay. Some of my faves are coming up. I don't know this one, though.
There's probably a reason why you don't know it.
Yeah, I was like, this looks like a little bit Moe, you know.
So this
Salad just said, "Oh no," in all caps. Sorry.
No, it's really funny. This is one of those anime, like, right after Madoka came out, that's trying to ride the wave. Like, you know, we watched Madoka and we wrote down darker, edgier, subversive plot twist, right? We had our notes. And we made this show. It tries so hard. And there's individual parts of it that I thought were fine or even good. But it is just like a hot mess, basically.
I really don't like these character designs.
In motion, they look so much worse, let me tell you. Everyone's heads are too big. Their arms look very breakable. They're very short. It's all weird looking.
Yeah. The character design looks like discarded Toho concepts. Yes, 100%.
That's so true, but
oh
also
my god.
sad.
Even the frills, like, oh my god.
Truly, like, if you just watch any clip from this show, you'll be like, none of this makes sense in motion. And it's really bad.
This is Toho sludge, yeah, pretty much.
And the thing is like, before this came out, there was a lot of hype. Like, I don't know if people remember, but like, there was already merch lined up, which for anime is uncommon. Like, they tend to not list this merch after it airs. There was a lot of hype overseas. There was a lot of hype here of like, this show is gonna be the new Madoka. This is gonna be great. And then it came out, and just like week after week, people were like, "Oh, no, this isn't it," you know. But it's not like it did anything horrible or offensive. It just didn't come together. You know what I mean?
Oh god. Well, now we're gonna move to the best anime.
Yeah.
I love this fucking show. The show slaps. It's amazing.
I think
this is the better Harry Potter.
That's true.
Only Magical said the Daybreak Illusion looked like an edgier version of Powerpuff Girls Z.
Yeah, speaking of bisexuals, indeed.
Yes. This one is, I mean, none of these I would say are explicitly gay, really, but there's vibes in Little Witch.
There's much there. And I think that the read of Susie being like sapphic is pretty fair. Like, there's a segment in that episode where they're inside her brain where it's like, it's a whole section of the brain that's just interested in kissing girls. I wonder what that could be about.
I love this show. It's super sweet and cute.
Yeah.
And I know you told me when they were making this, they were like, no panty shots.
Yes,
right?
there was a rule. They were like, we're not doing it. This is not what this is about. This is
Thank
not a
God. I salute
Wow.
that team because I hate that shit. And this is just really cute and fun and great.
And this is Studio Trigger, so like, of course they believe in panty shots. Like, they made Kill a Kill.
Yeah, exactly.
They know what an underboob is. They just didn't want to do it. Oh, Satis Salad is asking what was the thing with the wolf girl in Daybreak. It was bury your gaze, just like straight up.
Gosh.
So yeah, it sucked.
Yeah. Lauren says the creators have more or less confirmed Diana Akko as being romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think with anime especially, like, there is this whole zone of material that something like Yuri on Ice was trying to break out of, right? Where it's like, there's a lot of censorship pressure from stations and from production companies and so on and so forth to, like, keep things really muted when it comes to that. So I think even if stuff is confirmed, like, off book, I'm often still like, yeah, okay, that counts.
Only Magical said, honestly, I didn't like Witch Academia as much. I know it had a lot of hype, but I just watched this year and was kind of disappointed. It wasn't as good as everyone made it out to be. I have had that problem with so much stuff when people hype it up to me. Like, I try to go into stuff, like, with knowing as little as possible because, like, I get set up to do that so much, so I totally feel that. Like, if someone keeps telling you, it's the best thing, it's the best thing, it's the best thing, and then you play it, it's not the best, or you watch it or play it, and it's not the best thing, like, it's a bad feeling, so I totally feel you. But yeah,
I feel like oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like this, for me, brought, like, magical girls into, like, a more modern era, whereas, like, oh, I see the influence of, like, Harry Potter, and like all these other kind of cultural things, and it kind of like came to a head with this anime, for me. So.
Well, and I think it's a return, right, to like, and we saw hints of that even in the early 2000s of like back in the 70s when there was a lot of magical girl anime that was just like, I'm going to magic school, or I'm a witch now, and that was the genre, right? So I think it's partially going back to that.
Right.
But I also think, like...
What's that movie from Britain?
The Worst Witch?
Yeah, Worst Witch. It's like that. Yeah, it gives me that vibe.
Yeah. I also really like the Little Witch Academia backstory, just because, like, they kickstarted a very short OVA, then they kickstarted, like, basically, like, a short movie, like, an hour-long thing, and that was also really successful, and so, like... this show was pretty successful when it came out, the full show, because Netflix bought it and everything. Yeah. But I think, like, this was a show that got made because fans were with it from the beginning, and, like, there was a lot of love for it internationally and a lot of, like, support, which I just think is kind of a beautiful, like, success story for that kind of funding model.
Right. Side note, the show follows the Studio Trigger tradition of ambiguously sapphic main characters.
Right.
I feel like there's so many animes that have that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't believe you unless you show it to me straight up. Alright. Oh, this looks cute! What is this?
So this is, oh god, I am blanking on the director's name. The guy who made this movie just came out with something new. Oh my god, why am I blanking on this? There's a new anime movie that just came out it starts with a P. I'm gonna look this up. His new movie is an anime movie about making a live action film.
Oh,
it's getting a lot of award buzz from like film festivals and stuff. I'm gonna look up the name of it. But anyway, this guy, he likes to do, it's called Pompo the Cinephile. That's what it is.
Okay.
This guy likes to do anime original movie concepts. He cannot be deterred from just doing what he feels like. Bless him. And for this movie, he was like, I too enjoyed a 70s magical girl. I will make a movie about witches.
Cute.
And so it's these two sisters. You got the older sister and the younger sister. It's a kids movie. It's just kind of a feel good, fun fantasy story. but you know, even the title, like Majoko Classical, like, you know, Maho Shoujo Classical, like classical magical girl.
Yep.
I think it's all about getting back to that vibe and that kind of love that like older animators still really have for that era of the genre. I still have not been able to successfully see this movie, but I have a lot of admiration for the director, and I just think that his projects are cool. So if anyone hunts it down or imports it or something, let me know. I'll come watch it with you.
Super cute.
Super cute, yeah.
All right, let's go to Ladybug.
Sorry, it's just really hot in here.
That's okay. We'll probably do like a couple more, and then we'll wrap for the night. So
yeah.
Let's end. Maybe let's end on Yuki Yuna, which is 2 away.
Okay, that's a good one to end on.
Yeah.
Some of well, I guess I don't know how many of you would know what Magical Ladybug is. Some of you definitely do. This is a French show. You know, French animation studios obviously produce a lot of good work. A lot of us grew up on, you know, American dubs of French TV shows. Code Lyoko, Totally Spies. There was a Sushi Pizza Cats.
Oh yeah! No, you're not making it up.
Lots of good stuff, right? So Miraculous Ladybug is 3D animated, and it's kind of magical girl paired off against a phantom thief, right? So Ladybug, you know, is fighting monsters, and at the same time, there's this darn cat boy in like a weirdly sexy cat outfit for a boy to be wearing, who's always like getting in the way and meddling. And honestly, I feel like there's not a whole lot that complicates this. It's pretty much just a straight up magical girl show in a particular style, done in France. There was a lot of hype for this before it came out, because they had done like shorts, I think. Yes, Chat Noir, thank you. But I remember, like, even before this came out, there was a segment of Tumblr that was, like, all about Ladybug. Like, we are the Ladybug stans. It's really cute, yeah. I watched a couple episodes of it. I think it was just the dub that it got, but I honestly found it just, the audio was very annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you're talking too loud for me. I need you to be quieter. But, that's a very stupid complaint, I know. But it is a super cute show, and I know there's a couple people in the chat who like it. So
yeah, Static says I was just watching it this morning.
Yeah,
I know some folks who are really into this. Yeah, it's super cute. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know much about it, but it's interesting.
Kat, I feel like you might like the art quite a bit.
Honestly, yeah.
Like it's 3D, but it's very smooth. You know, like it does. It's not weird and bubbly looking like some American 3D stuff is.
Explosion Limit says, I don't think it's a stupid complaint. Honestly, voice acting can make or break stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a bad dub when that's the preferable option can sometimes be like, oh, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
If I spoke French, I would just watch it in French.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I find it confounding, so.
Alright. Let's go. Magical Sweet Prism Nana.
This is the greatest magical girl show that never was.
Oh!
If you're like, I've never heard of this, yeah, I feel that. This was supposed to be from Studio Shaft, which did Madoka. It was going to have some of the same staff. It had features in New Type. I had a poster, I kid you not, on my wall from this show, and then they never made it.
What happened?
I don't know. They released pachinko machines for it with like animated segments, and then the show just never materialized. And then they were like, "This is just gonna be a pachinko franchise." And I was like, "What the?" I was pretty let down because the development art for it was so cute. Like this looks cute, but like if you saw some of the other stuff, it was great. It looked like Flip Flappers almost.
Explosion.
Probably taxation.
Yeah, I was gonna say Explosion Limit says it's like Magic Knight Rare got chewed up and spat out by Madoka. Yeah. Wait. No, that's too much of a sidebar. I was like, do anime places actually get arrested for tax evasion? But that's like.
Oh well, like, Ufotable got in a lot of trouble for tax evasion a couple years ago. So yeah, it happens.
Sophia says flip flappers. Yeah, I forgot about flip flappers.
Yeah, I think we'll end up talking about flip flappers next time, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. I like flip flappers a lot.
All right. And we will wrap up with Yuki Yuna is a hero, which I know you like a lot, Jess.
I do. I think
Or
there's
back in the day, you did.
I mean, I think there's like, first of all, it's a really pretty show. This is like a really, on a technical level, this is a really nice anime. It's got a solid, enjoyable story. It's Madoka inspired without being either too derivative or too like edgy.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the Madoka kind of pretenders that are just like edge, I would recommend this one.
Yeah.
It got a lot of initial interest from like commentators and stuff, like bloggers, you know, for having a principal character who is in a wheelchair. And so there's a lot of like disability in the show. There's a lot of like, you know, this character uses a mobility device, people help her out with various things, but it's never a big deal. She has equal participation in the magical girl battles, even though she can't walk. That stuff's all really, really cool. I think that there's legitimate, like, places where some people sort of lost interest because they were like, well, on the whole, disability is kind of used as a plot point in the story.
Yeah.
The acquisition of disability is kind of treated as like a body horror thing, which...
not great.
Yeah, and I mean, it's complicated, right? Because, like, I would say I'm more on the side of the disability community that's like, you know, I do have acquired disability, and I understand that that's a very different experience than, like, being born, you know, with a so there's shades to it. I think it's complicated, but on the whole, I still really liked this show, even though there were parts of it that I was like, that's a little problematic or doesn't live up to the theme or whatever.
Right.
I also think there's parts of it that, like, if you know a lot about Japanese history and culture and religion, you'll appreciate it more. Knowing some things about Shinto, I think, can bring some detail to the story. If you know a lot about, like, pre-World War II Japanese, like, militant nationalism, you'll recognize that, like, they're trying to say something at times by making reference to that.
Right.
So yeah, I think that it's a really good show, and of the, like, post-Madoka, I don't want to say imitators, but, like, inheritors to the throne, I would say this one, for me, comes out pretty much ahead, even though it's not perfect.
Cool. I started watching this one, but I didn't get very far through it. I don't remember why I stopped.
I mean, I think, like, to your earlier point, right, that, like, anime should be short. It had, like, a 12-episode season, and then it has a second season that's really just, like, a 6-episode prequel and a 6-episode sequel.
Right.
So, like, very bite-sized. I think it's getting a 3rd season now. I think that's confirmed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's pretty successful. I think it's the, you know, it's a very middle of the road, like, not too successful to be crushed under its own weight, but successful enough that they keep making it, so.
Neat.
So yeah, I would still recommend this show, even though it's like, if you have complicated feelings about disability like me, you'll probably have complicated feelings, but I still liked it.
Makes sense. Alright, well, that's about all the magical girls we have tonight. And I think we will be done next time. So
for sure.
Next episode of this will be the final magical girl talk. We might do some more in the future, maybe just straight up only Sailor Moon. I want to do like a Sailor Moon like round table.
Take a look at Banner, Mike.
Oh, I would love that.
Thank you, Lauren. How many slides are left? We're on 75 out of 100.
Out of 100. Yeah, we can finish up next time. Wow, we keep doing exactly 25 slides in 2 hours. That's creepy.
Remember, there's a pre-cure for every year.
I know. And to be totally upfront, I don't feature all of them. The more recent ones, I just haven't kept up even with what's going on with them. But yes, there is a pretty cure for every year, and I encourage people to dive into that franchise with folks who know more than me, for sure.
All right. If people want to stay around, I think we're going to go raid Frasley, who is a friend of mine and a very nice streamer. So if you can go over and give her some love, that would be great. And this this week I have been kind of had a low stream week in the past week. So look forward to next week when I'm a little bit more back on track. And thank you everyone for the follows and resubs, and thank you Jess for being amazing and super smart. And yeah, I love hanging out with y'all. So I hope you have a great night and take care. Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
All right. Have a good night, y'all. Let's go raid. Woo!